that that specific child with that disability can identify with that book. And then after that, I'm gonna do like the open world concept. I kind of tell everyone it's kind of like bubble guppies,
Mm.
if that makes sense. Like having them all come together and like fight off a problem or help others, things like that. So I use them as therapy materials as well. So I want that to be another avenue that I can use in therapy.
Hi, family. I'm Dr. Brenda. I'm a licensed daycare provider, a published author of three children's books, an advocate, a consultant, a veteran's wife, and a mother. If you need help setting up your daycare service or just looking for great ideas to incorporate a play-based learning approach as well as learn about research-based solutions to issues impacting education, this is the channel for you. Subscribe, share, like. Thank you.
I'm from Houston, Texas, and that's where I reside now. Born and raised. Yes, so like I said, I was born and raised here in Houston, Texas. I grew up here. I was very athletic growing up. I played volleyball, basketball, and then in college, I was blessed to have a volleyball scholarship that helped me get my education. And I'm now a speech pathologist, and I think this is my 7th year, going into my 8th year as a speech pathologist. And right now, I'm school based, and I have been for 5 years. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have a tortoise, a very large one, and then 2 Rottweilers. Honestly, writing was never on my radar. I never thought it was something I would do, but once I got in the field and I started practicing and I started recommending things for parents to do at home, my go-to is always to read to your kid, whether you're actually reading the book or just interacting with the book, because there's so many language opportunities built inside that one activity. Um, and then I started having parents of the kids that I work with, they were saying, well, reading's great, but I can't go find a book that looks like my kid. And I was like, okay, I heard it once. And then I heard it a few more times. And I was like, well, let me do my research. And they were right. A lot of the kids
Mm.
I worked with were not um, within books. So I thought, well, maybe let me see what I can do about that. So here we are. So my first one is, I have it here with me, is Margot and You, and it features a little girl with a feeding tube, and it just takes you through her morning routine, and it just identifies how everyone is different, yet we're still the same, by completing different tasks during the day, and whether we're doing it differently, we're still getting to that end result. Um, so, like her different feedings, her morning routine, how she gets up, her hobbies, things like that. So, and each book that I have for each character will model that, like phrasing. I may be different than you or the same, that kind of model. And then once all of my books are released with each character, there'll be like an open world. So there'll be like stories that they're all involved in. Mhm. A lot of, well, every single one of my characters mirrors at least one, if not 5 or 6 different kids that I've worked with. And it's really neat too because now even the kids I work with that I wrote this book before I even knew, it's almost like now they're a part of Margot or they're a part of my other characters, even though I wrote the book before I met these kids. So it's a mixture of kids that I've worked with and possibly kids that I'll work with in the future. Um, I mean, I want to say it's for everyone, but the people that have reviewed it said it's more tailored toward like preschool, kindergarten groups, which I would have to agree for the illustrations and the vocabulary that's used. It's really simple. At my school, my second graders can actually read the book. So it's easy enough for second grade to read, but then for comprehension wise, pre-K, kinder, and first, it's really that. Yeah, I've read it to my 2-year-old. Well, he'll be 2 in July. Um, I'm not sure he fully comprehends what is in the book, but I think just having the inclusion inside of our house and on the bookshelf and getting him familiar with the different characters and different disabilities, I think is a huge plus for him and even for the younger kids. Um, since this is my first time doing this, I would say there were lots of ups and downs. Um, I decided to self-publish because I thought it would be completely awesome to sign my books and send them all out by myself. But I'm learning that there's different avenues as well. The biggest hurdle for me was finding someone to illustrate initially. Um, when I would tell people about what I wanted in my books, a lot of people were kind of like, nah, I don't think I'll be able to do that, or felt uncomfortable. And so the illustrator I have now, he works for the children's hospitals and does graphic designs for them. So it was like a perfect fit that I found him. And then the printing was hard. I didn't realize, I mean, being from a big city, I figured that there would be a million printing options, but there were not. So I had to go more north, and I ended up printing with a company in Dallas. But then another hurdle, they got bought out. So um, it's just been one thing after another, but thankfully everything has lined up and I got my first set of books and now I'm moving on to getting my second one published as well. Right now, my main focus has been Instagram. Um, that I feel like has reached a lot of more people and can still reach a lot more people than what I can even imagine. And then here locally at my school, I've been doing readings and continue to do readings as the school year goes on in classes. And I've been attending book fairs. I have a really big one tomorrow. I'm super nervous about it, but we'll see how it goes. And then since I have the summers off, I would like to start reading at local libraries and also some of the local therapy practices, like private practices. Um, I have some friends that I went to high school with, and they have kids with disabilities. And so I think it would be amazing to just kind of meet up back up with them and allow that opportunity to read my book and have those conversations with different kids inside of where they're having therapy or just different gatherings like that. I have a hardcover right now. That's the only option. Um, I have paperback. I just don't have it available anywhere yet. So this is the hardback. Um, let me see if I can do. Now the pages are a little bit thicker than normal pages. I wanted to make sure that it was pretty durable for the little fingers that would be using it. And it's, I dedicated all of my books to each child I've worked with. That way it was a little bit more durable and it could stand up to, like, if you wanted to take it to the table or um, just to make sure that you could read it multiple times without like the corners coming off or so. This is the scene of Margot in the kitchen. Um, and then my favorite page, the tortoise in this book is actually my real tortoise. So his name's Leyland. He's featured in this one. So And then in the back, it features my next characters. So that's a little surprise for everyone. And then here's, so identify with my character and just their whole face just lights up and you're like, oh my gosh, like you're the reason I did this. For example, I shared all 7 of my characters with one of our classes at my school, and one of the little girls like fell out of her chair. She was so excited to see someone that looked like her in a book, and I was just like, it's like, stop, take in this moment. It's like, it's just so rewarding to see that what I'm doing is actually helping other kids identify with themselves in a book and saying, "Hey, she looks like me," or "Hey, he has cochlear implants," or "Hey, she has a wheelchair just like me." It's hearing those things and it's like a full circle moment. It's like why you started and then getting to hear it is it's amazing. Yes. So, I do have 7 characters. So all of the first 7 books have been written. It's just gonna take time to get them illustrated. And then, like I said, so my purpose behind the 7 characters and them having their own book is so that that specific child with that disability can identify with that book. And then after that, I'm gonna do like the open world concept. I kind of tell everyone it's kind of like bubble guppies, if that makes sense. Like having them all come together and like fight off a problem or help others, things like that. So I use them as therapy materials as well. So I want that to be another avenue that I can use in therapy. I would say don't be scared and continue to try because as you continue to try, you'll see those little milestones getting checked off your to-do list. And before you know it, you'll be holding your book in your hand and you'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I do this? And then, like I said previously, you never know whose like hands your book is going to get into and whose life you could change by just making that book. It could be one person or it could be so many people and you just never know. And so I think the purpose that us as writers have is to help readers, feel that joy. And so I'd say just go for it. Um I think through this whole like adventure, it's really cool the people that I'm meeting. For example, you like had this I never done this, this opportunity, I would never be sitting here having this conversation with you. So it's opening my eyes to how many people I can talk to now. It's, helping me gain more self-confidence. I've, broken out of the shell of being super shy and now I'm just ready to go for it and, share all my characters with people and hope that more kids are changed through this adventure. So it's been fun so far.